Vendors of the dollar eagle said, "What you doing, man? Illegal." Now he's in the bottle, and now we watch him every day. He's trying to take the prisoners away from the bottom.
Welcome back, host. Have a great show.
Don't you think it's a crime?
Okay, welcome to the Reality Check with Charles Butler. We've been kicking it, doing this show for quite a while now, and having a lot of fun bringing you topics of the day. We're going to have Frank Venucio join us in a few minutes, Frank's a great friend of mine and editor-in-chief of an outstanding policy paper, and Frank's an attorney, among other things. Redial. I'm trying to tell him to redial me. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. So, it's amazing to me that people are still trying to blame Trump for the deaths. Let's see here. And it's amazing how people continue to want to blame Trump for the 180 some deaths that we had happen. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it doesn't work because it's wrong. Frank Venucio, welcome to the show. You know, Frank is a JD. He's the president of American Analysis of News and Media. And he's the editor-in-chief of its major publication, the New York Analysis of Policy and Government. Welcome to the show again, Frank. How you doing?
Charles, it's great to be with you.
Hey, man, listen. I am going around. I ran across. Are you familiar with this exercise called Event 201?
No, I am not.
Frank, why aren't you? Frank.
What is exercise 201?
No, event 201. 201. Event 201. Come on, Frank, help me out. You gonna be my straight man today? Is that it? Frank,
explain it all to me.
Listen, Frank. Last year, October 18th, Bill Gates funded and some other folks funded a simulation of a pandemic that would take out a few million people. Did you know that?
I did know that, yes.
October 18th of last year. It's called, it was called Event 201. And they had members of the government, pharmaceutical groups, the WHO, and they'd all planned this out. It was a dress rehearsal for the pandemic that hit us in January, February, March, April, whenever it hit us. How was Bill Gates?
Interesting.
How was Bill Gates invested in German companies that were working on a vaccine for COVID-19 a year ago?
Fascinating stuff. I have not heard that. I do think, however, that the story of how it spread is bothersome, in that in my interviews with people from the Wuhan area who have since immigrated to the United States, actually immigrated before this began, they, in contact with some of their relatives there, they found that elements of the Chinese army responded before elements of the Chinese medical profession when this all came out, which leads one to wonder whether, in fact, this was something more in the nature of a military project rather than a medical disaster.
It was more of a what?
More of a military project that went wrong rather than some kind of standard outbreak of contagious disease. Now, in the past, when we had the swine flu, avian flu, HN21 was it? When this sort of thing broke out, elements of the Chinese medical services were the first on the scene. However, in the case of COVID, the first people on the scene in Wuhan were not necessarily elements of the civilian medical profession. They were elements of the Chinese People's Liberation Army, which leads one to wonder whether this indeed was not a military event gone wrong, or if you look at it from the Chinese perspective, perhaps gone right.
Well, let's look at it this way. Wuhan is the bioweapons center or center for military bio research, weapons research. Wuhan, the laboratory for the research that the Chinese do, everything's in Wuhan. So why would the Chinese in December, January timeframe shut down travel from Wuhan to the rest of China, but allow these people to continue to go around the world? That's the real issue.
That's pretty much precisely the point.
That's the real issue.
The fact that sure, because if they didn't shut it down to the rest of the world, China has a basic monopoly on the medical supplies. It's in China's interest that the world would be reminded and deepened their dependence on China for medical supplies.
But
you
it
have to look at
backfired.
it from the perspective, not from a perspective of the United States or even Europe, but from the perspective of the Chinese Communist Party, which is about as foul and as unscrupulous as you can possibly get.
But let's expand that a bit. Frank. The reality is it backfired on them, and the PPE is minuscule compared to the vaccines and the test kits and all those things that have come out. So I think that we're going to get this virus under control, and it's amazing though to me how the medical profession can come up with cures and solutions to AIDS and HIV, where you can take a pill now so that you can have sex with someone who has HIV, but the HIV won't penetrate you or penetrate your cells. Or you can take a pill and if you have HIV and not give off the HIV to other people. Isn't that amazing how they came up with those cures in 20 years, 25 years? Whereas we can't cure cancer. You think there's not a cancer cure out there? There is, but there's too much goddamn money in cancer medicine for these people to offer up cures.
Pretty frightening prospect. I do think that the way that medical resources have been allocated, particularly in research, strands more to the political rather than to the practical, shall we say. And I think that that's a problem. Certainly there was a massive political push on AIDS. It became the cause célèbre. And I think that's a real issue.
I mean, I saw this advertisement today. First time I'd seen this ad. And basically it said, if you don't have AIDS, you can take this pill and you won't get AIDS because it will protect you from getting the disease. This is right on TV. Everything is about these homosexuals. Everything is about this gay lifestyle. Everything is about this homophobia. Homosexual stuff, which we know has destroyed whole empires, civilizations. I was taught, and I'm not going to change this, I was taught in class that the Egyptian and the Roman empires and the Greek empires fell because the men became homosexuals. That's what I was taught. I never knew what a homosexual was until I was taught this in school. So I'm not changing. I'm not letting these revisionists change anything. All I can say is I hope that that we continue to have people who stand up and fight for God, who fight for traditional lifestyles, who fight for what's right and what's moral. As John Adams said, the Constitution was written only for a religious and moral people. Without that, there was no controlling the unbridled passions of man. And that's what's happening. We have had a Supreme Court that's undermined the people, that's overturned laws that were written by the people. And here we are. So it's amazing, man. Hey, look, what kills me, and this is something that I'm sure that they haven't really done this week. And caller, I see you out there, Ron Taylor. I see you out there. You calling, and we're gonna bring you in here in a second. But what I notice is that the left always puts this narrative out there, and if you engage the narrative, then you end up defending this false narrative, and you never get to deal with the real issue. Like, oh, President Trump denigrated the men who were buried in this what is it, Anne Marie cemetery, and
World War I cemetery in France.
John Bolton said, "Well, that's not true." He said, and John Bolton went on to say, "If it were true, it would be in my book." So, I mean, how do you argue with that? He said, "Hey, if it was true, it'd be in my book, dude." Okay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have missed
I
that.
give John Bolton credit. Despite his animosity towards Donald Trump, he at least told the truth in this particular instance. And clearly, the Atlantic story, which I believe many have now said, and it's pretty clear that it was false from the beginning, was just one of several false scandals that we're going to see between now and Election Day. The problem is, once someone puts out something out there, it is going to be out there, and you have a number of gullible people who are always going to accept it.
But they don't. See, but this is the thing that's happening to Trump, that I see happening to Trump. The people are fighting back. It's like that black lady that Joe Biden tried to, they gave her a question. She said, "Yeah, I know I'm supposed to read off this list, but I got to tell you the truth, dude."
Right.
Man, I thought I would bust the gut. Okay. She was like, I know I'm supposed to read off this list.
You're going to see incidents like this just spring up over and over again between now and Election Day.
Yeah, well, the other thing that kills me is when people say we've lost 180,000 souls. President Trump lost we would have lost more souls than that if we let all those damn people come in from China. Nobody ever talks about that, though.
Well, what the media has failed to cover, of course, and they somehow conveniently lost it from their files, is all those quotes of Democrat leaders saying Donald Trump was xenophobic for trying to cut off travel from China. This is a hoax. We shouldn't pay attention to this thing. So, you know where this is all going.
I don't know where it's going, Frank. That's the problem.
Well, where it's going, of course, is that this is nothing more than anonymous sources coming up with nonsense about the president in order to influence the election result.
But it won't. It is not. And this is the other thing that's getting convoluted in this argument or in this discussion. Absentee ballots versus ballots that are mailed to your house. Ballots that are mailed to your house are unwanted. So I get to vote. You mail a ballot to my house. I vote with that ballot, and then I go to the poll and vote. Okay, that's 2 votes. Or you mail me 3 ballots to my address. I get double mailings to my address all the time because I live in an apartment building. So I get double mailings or triple mailings, different people, they're different names, addresses to my mailbox, right? So I could vote 3 times. No one would know.
But that's the whole point of mail-in ballots. Look, I mean, let's not be subtle here about this. The fact of the matter is, mail-in ballots were always an attempt by the Democrats to jigger this election. Now, there is a form of voting, if you don't want to vote in person, that's been working for decades. American service members have used it for decades. You can request an absentee ballot. If you didn't want to go to the polls, you request an absentee ballot. It is mailed directly to you. It is verified, and there's no way of tracing it or no way of making it fraudulent. But that wasn't good enough because you couldn't make it fraudulent. Rather, they have these absentee ballots. Rather, they have these mail-in ballots, which are simply a way for the Democratic Party to come up with thousands of ballots. Some of them, I'm sure, will be signed Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. On election night, Donald Trump is going to come out the winner.
Right.
And then a week later, Democrat governors in blue states are going to mysteriously find thousands of mail-in ballots marked exclusively for Joe Biden, and it's going to cause a pall on the entire election.
Well, when Newsom said he was mailing out ballots to the whole state, he's got illegal aliens that he's mailing ballots to. You know, it's amazing.
And don't forget, California is the state that issued driver's license to illegal aliens.
That's what I'm talking about.
They were supposed to have something on the driver's license saying this is not valid for voting, but mysteriously that caption never wound up on those driver's licenses.
Well, when you have as many Mexican-oriented Latinos in California. I mean, you have people in California, these Latinos in California, who are really racist, and they intend to take back California. That is their goal. They're not very...
Well, it's called, actually, they even have a name for it. They call it the Reconquista.
Reconquista. And
Reconquista.
And
these are the folks who march with Mexican flags down the streets of cities like Los Angeles.
And Chicago. And Chicago.
And Chicago,
oh, yeah,
right.
Chicago, yeah. But, you know, it's really strange that you don't see that in Miami. Because they're from Cuba. And they,
sure.
and they wave American flags. And they speak English. Okay? I mean, it's just incredible. But anyway, hey, I want to see what Ron's talking about. He may want to talk to you, so I'm going to pull him in here before you have to go. Hey, Ron, how you doing?
Hi. Am I online here?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Well, listen, I just watched the video. It's the first time I'm watching your show, and I was calling in to see if I could get a chance to talk to you. But I'm just as willing to say on air what I've got to say because this is a bombshell maybe for some people.
What's that?
But here it is. Tell you what, let me get off speaker. Okay, so you can probably hear me a little better now. That I'm aware of this because I'm a subject matter expert in this, okay? And actually more than that. But here's the thing. There has been a total cure for anything like COVID-19 that Homeland Security has known about since 2003. And I can say that very effectively. I can actually email all the documentation to you if you'd like. And if you want, I'd like to go into a little more explanation about that. You want to hear it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Homeland Security was formed after 9/11. The very first secretary was Tom Ridge. The very first top health official in Homeland Security was Dr. Paul K. Carlton Jr., MD, out of Texas A&M University Integrative Health Science Center. He was the top health official in Homeland Security. On November 10th, 2003, he wrote a letter, and I have a copy of that letter I can send to you. He wrote the letter to Tom Ridge saying that we have discovered a new antimicrobial product that will take out anthrax, bubonic plague, SARS, MRSA, everything. Okay, he said, we don't have anything like it in our inventory, and we need to get this in our inventory, and it's the first new antimicrobial we've seen in years. Well, that microbial he named in the letter, okay, and it is a nanosilver product that is manufactured by American Biotech Laboratories. It has now covered by 55 patents. It wasn't then. It was covered by a few patents. But basically, it is a very stable Ag404 molecule, 4 atoms of silver bound to 4 atoms of oxygen. And as such, it is not metabolized by the body, so it could never be a drug, really, because drugs are defined as something that is metabolized in the body. This goes in the body and comes out of the body in the same form, but it takes out many pathogens, microbial things that are bacterial, viral, fungal, everything as it goes through the body.
Good.
It's not, and the work that has been done since, it was studied by the U.S. Air Force, and their classified report was released in 2009. They studied it against Ebola, or the closest virus that they wanted to test against Ebola. Go ahead. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm trying. We're trying to stay on track here, and but you're right. There are cures out there. So why? So how do you think?
Why didn't they bring it out? That's what I wanted to ask. Why haven't they used this? Because it's not a pharmaceutical. It doesn't put money into the pharmaceutical company's hands. And that there's an agenda there, a monetary agenda for that. But you know that this was planned. The COVID-19 thing was planned as far back as 2002, again in 2015, and that Gates and his cohorts actually signed contracts for contract tracing before the virus showed up in the fall of 2019. They signed these contracts.
That's right.
This was all pre-planned. Everything was pre-planned. And what happened, Paul K. Carlton Jr., who I talked to on the phone before he hung up on me.
Who was that?
He said he'd been visited by the FDA.
Who was that?
Paul Carlton, the guy who wrote the letter, the one who wrote the letter to Tom Ridge in 2003 saying that there was a total solution to all of the bioterrorism and biowarfare products, viruses and stuff like that. Anyway, he was visited by the FDA. I believe he was heavily threatened by the FDA because of what he had said, and that he was told not to say anything more about it. But the interesting thing now with this nanosilver is it can be nebulized full strength in a nebulizer. There are doctors who have actually used it as an intravenous solution, and it can actually replace saline solution in an intravenous form.
Wow.
And it'll take out any pathogens in the body. So that's important information for everybody to know and utilize themselves.
Okay.
But it is also interesting that there's been a cover-up on that whole thing.
Hey, Frank.
And think of the number of lives, the whole economic collapse that's been brought on by this thing, and it never had to happen at all, because this can be used not only as a preventative, but a therapy that would have meant that nobody had to be locked down, nobody had to be put in isolation,
but
and,
Frank,
and all those other factors.
Frank, have you heard of this? Frank?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, it's the first time. Give me an email. I'll send everything to you.
Send it to C.
But like I said, this is groundbreaking information. Really, it is. It's, and I've been trying to go public and get it out there for a long time.
But man, you better start your car. You better start your car remotely.
Yeah, I know.
You can send it to clbutler1@gmail.
Okay, well, what were the first initials?
CLBUTLER, the number 1@gmail.
Okay, CL1@gmail, or
CLButler1@gmail, yeah.
CL1, or was there? Did you put some more letters in between the CL and the 1?
BUTLER.
Oh, CLButler1@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Hey, thanks, Ron. Thanks for calling. Great information, man. Appreciate you. Okay. Hey, Frank. I know you got to run. What do you want to close with?
I think that the recent Atlantic magazine story was symbolic of what we're going to see throughout this election, straight through to election night. One false story after the other, put out by the press. Unfortunately, once you put something out, even though it's totally proven false eventually, it still sticks in people's minds. And that's the strategy that the Democratic Party, I think, is using for this election. If I said today, Charles, that Donald Trump is actually an illegal alien, he came from Mars to destroy the planet Earth, rational people will dismiss that, as they should. But somewhere along the line, someone is going to quote your show and say, I heard on the show that Donald Trump's an illegal alien and is therefore disqualified to be president. That's the way these stories tend to work. And look for a lot of it going forward, straight through November 3rd on Election Day.
Yeah, well, I tell you, they can keep up the nonsense, but I don't think people are buying in on it. Biden's already losing the suburbs. Biden's already losing the burbs. Biden's losing the black vote. I just think it just. I mean, you know how I am. You and I, we kind of see things for what they are, and we generally make these forecasts ahead of time, like we did about the Chinese and the chips and programming the trips and backdooring the chip. I mean, that's just kind of common sense for you and I. And these people going, "Oh my God," they like it's something new. Like you wouldn't do that. Like you wouldn't take advantage of that strategy. You know.
That's exactly right. Hey, Charles, it's been great. I look forward to our next discussion.
Okay, man. Be good. Take
care.
Oh, you too. Hey. All right. Look, so folks, what we got to do is we're going to take a little break, but I want you to know, if you're looking for life insurance, please give us a call at 312-667-9111. We can sit down and solve all of your health and life insurance requirements with the click of a button. So give us a call, 312-667-9111. That's my little read for today. We're going to continue to do what we do here at the Reality Check with Charles Butler. It's a lot of fun, I tell you. So I'm looking at something, and it was some bumper music. Let's see if it's here. So Biden tickled me. He said, "Hey, look, if Donald Trump had said anything that was inappropriate, it would be in my book." Okay, if he had said anything about the service people or anyone else, it would be in my book. Now, I thought that was priceless. It was totally priceless. And Biden was just very clear. He said, "Hey, he didn't say it. And I'm not going to say he said it. So let's play Joe. Here we go. Oops. Let's see here. Hold on. We're going to play. We're going to play John Bolton. I'm sorry, not Joe. John Bolton a little bit.
Story is a hoax, and it's a disgrace.
Trump.
Who would say a thing like that? Only an animal would say a thing like that. Even John Bolton came out and said that was untrue.
That was Trump saying that John Bolton said that was untrue, that he denigrated the soldiers. I thought that was great. So let's play this again because we were expecting John Bolton.
The story is a hoax, and it's a disgrace. Who would say a thing like that? Only an animal would say a thing like that. Even John Bolton came out and said that was untrue.
Wow. So now I want to play Bolton actually saying, "Hey, he didn't say it."
Well, in fact, he was responding to an article in the Atlantic magazine from last Thursday night, and the article itself is a mashup of all kinds of allegations. What he's disparaging remarks about our soldiers, the people buried at the unmarked cemetery, in connection with the decision for him not to go to the ceremony that was planned that afternoon.
Wow. He said he didn't do it.
And
happened when this was discussed.
Reaffirmed that in response to questions the next day.
Wow. He said didn't say it. Biden said he didn't say it. Here we go.
Go to the ceremony that was planned that afternoon. And that was simply false. I don't know who told the author that, but that
he said it was false. But Trump, Bolton said it was false. Hey, look, we got a caller from Florida. So let's pick up this caller from Florida. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Charles.
Hey, Pedro. How you doing?
I'm good. You know, the thing about that Atlantic article, that's all these generals that are losing money because Trump wants to stop these wars.
Oh yeah. But
it is. These generals, they make a lot of money out of the war machine.
Well, not so much that they make money, but times are good. They have money to spend. Their promotions on the line. They're getting those tickets punched. Serving in combat, leading troops in combat. They're punching tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you in
peace, a lot of them are these retired guys. These retired guys like McChrystal and Kelly and these guys. Actually, McChrystal is joining the Democrats and this disinformation thing so that they can discredit everything that Trump says about the military.
Well,
these people are basically planning a coup.
You think?
Yeah, they're trying to cause a chaos. It's basically they're trying to cause a chaos, and they've even met and they've discussed it. They finally said, you know what, we'll let the military take.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is basically they're planning it between these Republicans, former Republicans, the Democrats, and a lot of these military guys. It's going to be tough. We're going to have a couple of weeks of chaos at the end of this election.
I hope not.
I hope not too, but it's looking that way because they listen to these articles that are coming out in the Washington Post, and these people talking about, don't concede, under any circumstances. You know what? Fight it out. And in California, the last election, bunch of elections, a lot, and they keep counting, and they kept counting, and they kept counting.
You cut
and
out.
That's the game they're playing. They're trying to do this with the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not a game. These people are they want to get rid of Trump no matter what, because he's cost them millions. He's cost them millions.
Listen, McConnell's father-in-law had never been to sea. He bought a shipping. He bought a shipping company that goes from China to America, and this guy's never been. He knows nothing about shipping. He knows nothing about transportation, but he owns a shipping company, and his daughter is Secretary of Transportation. Oh man, and that's McConnell's wife.
All of them. These Republicans didn't want him either. You remember we used to speak about this in 14, and when you were at Genesis.
Oh yeah.
We used to speak about this before. Yeah. We're talking about, they didn't want Trump. They didn't want him because actually he was causing them. He was going to cause them a lot of money on these things. They weren't going to be able to keep getting away and hiding these things.
No.
Like that McConnell thing, and there's a bunch of other stuff. Ryan had to quit. Why did Ryan quit? Ryan quit because the Chamber of Commerce wasn't getting their money's worth from him. But what
he moved on
so he
down
could
the
screw
line.
Trump.
Well, he hurt Trump the first 2 years, but he didn't hurt him that much, and I was so glad that he left. I didn't know what to do. I tell you.
Yeah, the thing is, he should have just quit, but he stood there to stop the agenda all the way till the end of that, till knowing that the Democrats were going to take over.
Yep.
The guy is evil.
Yep.
He's a bad person.
Yep.
And now he's on the board of directors at Fox. That's why Fox has changed and gone somewhat anti-Trump.
Well, I think he may be on the board, but I tell you, man, the guy, he's something. He's a piece of work. That Paul Ryan.
Yep.
I can't stand.
Yeah. Him. Yeah, I can't stand him either. Charles, go.
He thinks he thought he was the new Jack Kemp, but he's no Jack Kemp. Because he interned for Kemp.
But you know what? Yeah, exactly. The thing is that the Chamber of Commerce, they own him body and soul.
Well, they own them all. I mean,
he was selling out the Americans.
Well, they own them all. I mean, Mitch McConnell was pissed. Now when Trump is talking about decoupling the economy of China and America, he talks about that on Sunday. It's sending shockwaves. Mm-hmm. It is sending shockwaves through America, because all of these people have been making all this money, paying all these dividends on the back of cheap labor, and allowing cheap labor to maximize profits. And they have these, inflated profits because of cheap labor. And now we're going to go back to buying America, build America, putting up tariffs. When Trump hinted yesterday that he was going to decouple the economies, man, people are scrambling. You better believe they are really scrambling.
Oh yeah. They you know what? These people were making billions on the backs of American workers.
Billions on the back of American workers.
Yeah,
not millions,
on the back of American workers. That's basically what they've been doing for years.
Yep.
And they've been calling it conservatism, and they're talking about free market
and globalization.
I believe in free markets, but I don't believe in giving up the store or giving up because somebody's gonna offer me something cheaper, which is basically what their excuse was. And these Republicans were all that, oh, I'm a free market guy. You know what? Trump is a protectionist. It was nonsense.
Well, anybody who said that, they used to call me a protectionist all the time. But I'm going to switch up gears here and talk a little bit about this young lady. There's a young lady that they gave the mic to, a black young lady, and it's common for when you're doing these events, these Q&A events with the public. You scatter a few people out here with answers or questions that you want them to answer, to ask you, and then you answer the question. So it's kind of a setup. And I've done it. Other people do it. It's no big deal. And so they gave this young black lady a piece of paper with a question on it. And she said, "I can't read this. I need you to hear the truth." And man, I tell you, I laughed so hard.
I saw it.
They should have known.
Yeah,
I'm just going to be honest, Mr. Biden. I was told to go off this paper, but I can't. You need the truth.
Yeah.
And I'm part of the truth. I was born here, raised here, first 8th grade class of the school that was named after his mother. So I have to give you the truth of the people. And the truth of the matter is, we are heavily angry. We live here. And we want it to stay the way we've always had it. But the changes that we want has to be more in effect. We hear so many people saying, "Oh, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that." But we have yet to see action.
This goes back. She says we keep.
Wow. This lady is like, "Hey, wait a minute. You keep talking about giving us stuff. We don't want anything. What we want is for you to leave us alone."
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Look, the more they do for the community, the worse the community is. The worse off the community is. They should just, what? Let them choose their schools, get educated, work, and join the middle class. That's it.
Yeah.
But they need a dependent class. They need a dependent class to win.
Yeah, they do. But
and that's what they do. They have an underclass.
But people are tired of it, and people are fighting back.
Yeah, they're coming around.
And I think that this election is going to be just like the last election. The Democrats are going to run around saying, "Well, how did it happen? How did we not win? They stole the election, so we have to count all these votes. We have to count all these." Yeah, well, Hillary Clinton was saying that this weekend, and so
Kamala was talking about that too.
I saw a clip. Yeah. And I saw this clip.
Kamala was talking about Russia.
I saw this clip with Bill Clinton and Hillary, and Hillary's ranting and raving, and Bill's just looking at her, and he's looking at her like, "I wish she would just shut the hell up." I mean, the look on his face, is priceless. It's like
priceless. Yeah, it goes.
I wish this chick would go somewhere and crawl under a rock and shut the hell up. She doesn't get it.
She hasn't gotten over it.
Hillary, it's over, baby. They didn't want you.
She hasn't gotten over it. She hasn't gotten over it, Charles. She's gone nuts. That thing made her nuts,
But they wanted Bill. I don't understand why they wanted Bill, but they didn't want me. I'm smarter than Bill. I'm better than Bill.
She's a horrible person. She's a horrible person.
She is.
We used to talk about that. She's a horrible person. She was a terrible candidate.
Oh yeah, she was terrible.
And you know what? The thing is that have you noticed that foundation doesn't exist anymore because nobody.
Well, they were going to
anymore. She's not going to be president.
Well, they were going to be.
Audited. They were buying her influence.
No, they were going to be audited by them, by the Attorney General of New York, and they shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had to run. They were running and hiding, just like some of these other folks. But it's always been good, man. It's always been good. It's always been tedious.
Yeah, but we have a two-tier system of justice. They get away with anything. If you or I did anything nowhere even mention the half of the stuff that they did, we'd be in trouble, Charles.
Yeah, that's true. But
they get away with anything.
That's true.
It's a two-tier system of justice.
Yeah.
The lady lady, just that blindfolded. You know what? There's a big hole in one eye. You know, and it ain't looking at us.
It's true.
For
That's true.
real.
Hey,
you
man,
know, that's the way it
you
works.
say for real, huh?
And for real,
that is too funny.
There's a hole in that.
That is too funny, man. But you know, it's true. It's and it's too bad, but
it's true. It's
yeah,
true. Look at the stuff this woman has done.
Yep.
Her, you know, look how many violations of the Espionage Act would come out of that wasn't using the government server. That's
mm-hmm.
one of them, and she had over 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now this guy had one picture or 6 pictures. This Taylor, he wound up in prison. It's incredible. Incredible. These people get away with anything, and you know what? They're gonna make our election chaotic. We're gonna have to be really careful and be ready for it because it's coming. That counting, the way they did in California, that's what they're trying to do now. Mail-in ballots. Everybody and their dog are gonna vote.
Mm-hmm.
And they're already talking about, Nevada's talking about in their new law that they can count all the way up to 7 days after the election. Trump is fighting that, but
not impressed. Yeah.
No,
So he'll be okay. He'll be okay.
Tough.
You know, that's it. Yep.
It's gonna be tough. Yep. Charles, I'll let you go.
Okay, man.
Let you go.
Be good.
Be good. I'll keep listening to you all week.
Yeah,
Maybe if I have anything to say again, I may call again.
Appreciate it, man. You're always welcome. Thank you. All right.
Take care, Charles.
You too. Bye-bye. You know, it's great. Okay. We have another caller in here, Mr. Roush. Mr. Roush, how you doing? Hello?
Hey, my brother.
How you doing?
Hey, listen, I just wanted to tip my hat to Pedro. Pedro, my man, I love you. It's Tom from Baltimore from the good old GCN days. I always love hearing from you. Charles, listen, you brought up, I'm so glad you brought up the girl who went off script. I was laughing out loud when I was watching that live. You know, I wish they would have zoomed in on Biden's forehead because, you know, he was beaten up with sweat. I'm sure everybody on his team had their blood pressure rise by at least 20 points.
Oh, yeah.
You know, more people need to make bold moves like that to expose what's really going on with the scripted events.
Uh-huh. She said, I can't read what's on this paper.
I loved it. That's all I got for you today, buddy. Again, Pedro, love hearing from you as always. We got to get together one day, my man. All right, I'm going to let you go, Charles.
All right, man. Be good. It was Tom and Pedro, two of my favorite callers. I'm glad they're calling in. Hey, folks, you give us a call, 215. What is it? 215-867. 8255 215-867-8255. You know, I'm just always amazed at how sensitive people get about Donald Trump. They get illogical. They just get all out of sorts. You know, illogical. I mean, you know, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. You know, Obama was the biggest liar that we ever had, and people always talk about Trump. Obama, anytime Obama's lips were moving, he was telling a damn lie. I swear to God. And I used to document that all the time. And it used to make the owner of my station, my old station, WVON, he used to piss her off. Because I said, anytime his lips are moving, he's black and he's this. I'm like, I don't give a crap about his color. I don't care about him. He ain't doing a damn thing for black folks, and he sure ain't doing a damn thing for me. You know, so who cares? I didn't care, but that's the pathology. That's the racism that exists amongst black people. I don't care what you do if you're black, as long as you can do whatever you want. It doesn't make any difference. You could run away from the police. You can beat up the police. You can not comply with the police. You can just get in your car and reach for something and not expect to get shot or get your behind whipped because you black and I'm supposed to support you. Absolutely. When I look back at these athletes who took a game off, when I look back at these people who try to make a case for a rapist, and I'm talking about the guy who's in the hospital in Kenosha, Jacob Blake, who got shot in the back 7 times. I could give less than a shit about this rapist, convict, always in trouble individual. Now, his granddaddy was a pastor and a civil rights leader. His mother was a teacher and a civil rights leader. He is a no good, unworthy, scrunge of the earth, bad person. And I don't know what his problem was or is, and I really don't care. But him being shot in the back and people reaching out to try to embrace it, we can listen to that video. I played it the other day, I think, of him from his bed. I think I played that video. Did I play that video? I know I recorded it. And it just tickled me that this guy had the nerve, let me see if I can find it, to talk about making some money. We can all make some money, and he's trying to get paid. Jacob Blake, he's trying to get paid, okay, for breaking the law. He's trying to get paid for police officers doing their job, and he expects, it's kind of like, I remember when Jussie Smollett claimed that he was attacked by 2 white men in mega hats saying you effing F word, for a homosexual, N word for, that NRGG word, right? So we're going to, and he had a little scratch on his cheek. Now, look, if he was going to get his behind whipped, he would got his behind whipped. I mean, this Chicago, people going to, step it up a notch if they're going to, do this thing, right? And this guy comes out with a little scratch on his cheek. I laughed so hard. And I know it's kind of like Dave Chappelle said, well, and this is Dave Chappelle's story. Dave says, well, people accuse black folks of being homophobic because we didn't support Jussie Smollett. Because we didn't want to support a black gay. He said, well, what we were really doing was we really were supporting him by being silent because we knew he was lying, which is true. We knew he was lying. And it's the same way with Jacob Blake. Jacob Blake was a rapist, is a rapist, a con artist, has all these babies by different women. The guy's just no good. Why would I care about this guy? Why would I send this guy any money? Why would we even why don't you focus on black people who are law-abiding, who have police abuse issues, police misconduct issues? Don't tell me and don't expect me to ever side with a black criminal against a police officer. I don't care what a police officer does to a black criminal. If you're a black criminal, I'm your worst enemy, because what I want to do to you is something the police can't do to you. And that's make you part of the ecosystem. Take you right out to Lake Michigan, give you your last meal, some fried chicken, and play some rap music, and sink the boat and drown all 1,000 of you, or how many I got on that boat, in the lake. Period. I love it. So amazing. It's just amazing. But these people like LeBron and hey, if you're going to do something, at least get on the right side. If you're going to do something, at least do it for the right reason. Don't do it because of these people. These people are not good people. What's his name? Blake, not a good person. You could tell by his dumbass daddy. Ignorance versus ignorance, right? Oh, I'm on TV. I mean, really? So what? And his dumbass brother. Hey, the reason he got shot was because he didn't stop and he didn't obey the police. And he didn't obey the police committee. The police did not want to shoot this guy. Police didn't want to shoot this guy. They did not want to shoot the guy, not even. But they did because he reached in the car for something. We didn't know what. And the police officer certainly was justified in shooting that behind, as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, hey, you know, we can argue about that, and I know that there are black people out there who will want to argue whether or not he could have been shot in the leg. You've been watching too much TV. When you pull out a weapon, you're not trying to shoot somebody in the leg. You know, when you shoot somebody, you're trying to put them down to make sure that you come home and they don't. That's the bottom line. But you know, well, why did we shoot him in the hand? Black folks are so stupid. And then you have those people out there who try to join the fray, and they're just as bad. So we're gonna get ready to get out of here. It's the Reality Check with Charles Butler. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place.
You see that black boy over there running scared. His old man in a bottle. He done quit his 9 to 5. He drank full time and now he's living in a bottle. See that black boy over there running scared. His old man got a problem, and it's a bad one. He ain't done pawned off damn near everything. His old woman waiting for bottle. And don't you think it's a crime when time after time after time people in a bottle? There's people living in the bottom. Listen to me. See that sister, her shirt was fine. Oh, she started thinking wine in the bottom. She told me, oh man, committed a crime. He's doing time. Now she's hanging in the bottom. I seen her out there on the avenue all by herself. She sure need help from the bottom. I seen her, your man tried to help her. She cussed him out and hit him in the head with the bottle. They turned to me, they asked me, Gil, don't you think it's a crime? No way. And time after time after time, people in the bottle. There's people showing up in the bottle. Give another good example. You see that gent in a regal suit there, nothing damn near blown his to the bottom. He was a doctor helping young girls along. If they wasn't too far gonna have problems. But the offenders of the Dollar Eagle said, what you doing, man, illegal. Now he's in the bottle.
And now he watches every day.
He's trying to chase the prisoners away
from the bottle.
He turned to me, he said, man, now, don't you think it's a crime? The way time after time, friends of mine
in the bottle.
There's people showing up in the bottle.
Okay, have a good one, folks. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks again. I'm going to take a picture of this. This is good stuff here. I'm going to take a picture of this. This is some good feedback over here. I didn't know that you guys were writing me as I would have interacted with you. I will in the future, that's for sure. Thanks. Take care. Okay. Let's do this.